We invite you to watch how we clear the views on all matters through our partner station MITV on DSTV channel 255, 7 p.m. daily, and also our YouTube and Facebook pages under one name, Clearview News Desk every day. We call it The People's News, as we are available to come over and cover your events upon notice. Or do you have news you want us to broadcast? Send it in. We verify and go to town with it. All for you. Go ahead, engage us to thrash out those naughty issues on the news. And what we need from you is to share and subscribe. More important, convince your loved ones, friends, relatives, co-worshippers, and more to subscribe so as to be getting notifications as we break the news. Go a step further, like the news, and drop your thoughts on the comment section. Clearview News. We clear the view one time and for all time.
Hello and welcome to Clearview News Desk. We're reaching you live from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. First, the headlines. Protests begins in Niger State, FCT and other parts of Nigeria ahead of proposed kick-off date of August 1. Civil society organizations identify inaccessibility to leaders, insensitivity to the plight of citizens, lack of youth involvement in policy making, unemployment as major factors leading to nationwide protests. Football pundits predict the Nigeria Super Falcons are not likely to beat Japan in their final group game in the ongoing Paris Olympics. I am Florence Joshua with these and more. Nigeria youth have taken to the street this Monday to protest the pervasive economic hardship and spiraling inflation in Nigeria ahead of a nationwide protest billed to commence on August 1. The protesters, carrying placards with inscriptions such as "Fuel subsidy must be back," "Enough is enough," and "Hardship is unbearable," marched through the Abuja-Kaduna Expressway in Suleja local government area of Niger State, chanting anti-government slogans.
We don't have any youth organization that wants to do demonstration. If there are, please let me know.
The protest is a part of a nationwide demonstration planned for August 1 to 10, with youth calling for an end to economic hardship and anti-people policies. Meanwhile, state governors and President Bola Tinubu have appealed to youth to shelve the protests, warning it could be hijacked by hoodlums and unscrupulous agents. As the protests gain momentum, the question on everyone's mind is, if the protest will go down in history as a game changer like similar protests in Mali, Niger and Kenya, or if this will be another empty noise, only time will tell. In the meantime, law enforcement agencies are on high alert, warning that the protests could be hijacked by hoodlums. However, the agency have vowed to ensure the protests remain peaceful and do not disrupt public order. Amidst apprehension of a planned nationwide protest, appointment of leaders who are inaccessible, insensitivity to the plight of the common man, lack of youth involvement in policy making, unemployment, among other issues, have been identified as some of the major factors fueling the agitation among the Nigerian youth. Director General, Committee of Youth Mobilization and Sensitization, Chief Obina Waka, made this known when he led some youth on a solidarity visit to the Minister of Youth Development, Dr. Jamila Bayo Ibrahim, in Abuja. He called on the Nigerian government to engage the angry youth in dialogue and consultative forum. Clearview News' Imofon Okon was there and now tells us more.
It's no longer news that the call for the demonstration tagged in bad governance protest had gathered momentum on social media in the wake of the high cost of living in Nigeria, triggered by the twin policies of fuel subsidy removal and the floating of the naira. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, the inflation figures have reached 34%, pushing the cost of essential commodities beyond the reach of millions of Nigerians. Director General, Committee of Youth on Mobilization and Sensitization, Chief Obina Waka, while leading some youth on a solidarity visit to the office of the Minister of Youth Development, Jamila Ibrahim, ahead of August 1st nationwide protest, said Nigerian youth are angry, but dialogue is the key to finding solutions to the many issues confronting the youth.
There has been a series of promises by the federal government, which we are also aware, which the Minister of Youth also announced during the United Nations Youth Dialogue, that the federal government has approved 30% affirmation space appointment for the young people. Where are those promises? The federal government should be sitting and see that every opportunities or every policies that are bringing out for Nigerians, they should be hastening up to do what? To implement them. We know that yes, things are difficult at this period of time, but the young people are agitating for a welfare. They are agitating for sense of belonging. They are agitating for environment whereby they can strive. They can bring in their expertise to contribute to their own quota to the development of Nigeria.
We understand how Nigerians, especially the youth, people are going through a lot, but still on still. We still exercise and ask people to still put one or two sense of understanding, because in one way or the other, the protest is going to bring a little bit conflicts, and the country's stabilization is going to be down. Sense of economic is going to also fall down. So I think it's high time for her herself, the Minister of Human Youth Development, to call on the little organizations that have interest in her to hear from them and also understand how she can also pass the youth problem to Mr. President. Because as it is now, some of us are very angry.
I'm feeling it. Every youth is feeling it in Nigeria. That is why the protest is coming up, because this protest is just like a means to get the attention of the government to know our needs as the youth of Nigeria. So this protest calls attention to the government. They should come together and know what the youth needs.
In a response, the Minister of Youth Development, Jamila Ibrahim, appealed to the Nigerian youth to be patient with the Nigerian government, adding that the future is bright for the youth.
So we appeal to you to be patient, to work with us, to work for you. The future is really bright. I wish you could see it from where I stand. All we need is some resilience and some patience. It's the hardship we are all in it together. Like I said previously, we go to the same market. I see the prices today, they are not the same tomorrow. I will scream just like everybody will scream, but I know that the pain is temporary.
It may interest you to know that President Tinubu has been meeting with stakeholders, including traditional rulers, as part of Last Gap's effort to prevent the protest. He is calling on the organizers to be patient with his government as it works to address Nigeria's challenges, assuring that reforms by his administration will pay off in the long run.
With barely 3 days to the planned nationwide mass protest hashtag End Bad Governance, more groups are lending their voices to the matter. A non-governmental organization, Women Initiative for Family Economy, WIFE, has appealed to all Nigerians to shelve the protest in order not to plunge the country into chaos. Speaking at a press conference in Abuja, the nation's capital, the national coordinator of the group, Aisha Abdulkadir, expressed fears that a protest would only worsen the socio-economic challenges facing the country and could lead to a repeat of the bloody End-SARS protest that occurred in 2020.
While the right to peaceful protest is enriched in our democracy and is a powerful tool for voicing concern, I urge all Nigerians to consider the potential consequences carefully. We have all seen the impact of protests firsthand. The End-SARS protests of 2020 are still fresh in our collective memory. What began as a peaceful demand for the end of police brutality tragically escalated into widespread chaos. Business were shattered, daily life come to a halt, and most grievously, lives were lost. The violence and disorder that erupt caused profound suffering and left indelible scars on our nation. A nationwide protest at this juncture could lead us down a similar path of disruption and hardship. Strikes and protests, while powerful, often come with unintended consequences. They can cripple our economy, disrupt essential services, and escalate to very issues they aim to address. The most vulnerable among us, daily wage earners, small business owners, students, and patients in hospital, are often the ones to bear the brunt of such action.
She urged Nigerians to exercise more patience with the president as the government is working towards addressing the lingering hardship in the country.
We believe that through dialogue, we can address grievances and work together towards sustainable solutions. As a mother, my heart aches at the thought of losing more of our young ones to violence. I urge you to consider this alternative measure to protest in a way that preserve lives while still demanding the change we so desperately need. Let us protect our children and each other by seeking peaceful, strategic avenue for advocacy. In conclusion, while the right to protest is fundamental, we must consider the potential costs and the consequences of a nationwide protest. The government is dedicated to addressing the economic hardship facing our country and is actively working on solutions. Let us choose the path of dialogue and cooperate over disruption and chaos. Together we can build a Nigeria that offers prosperity and opportunity for all.
Clearview News Desk reliably gathered that Nigerians remain largely divided over the August 1 protest, with economic hardship fueling debate and tension among leaders and citizens. So far, there has been various calls for dialogue in some quarters. However, the youth have continued to maintain their stand on social media, to mobilizing on the streets to express their displeasure against the government. The Nigerian capital, Abuja, witnessed an unusual counter-protest as women groups gathered to oppose a planned nationwide protest over economic hardships. The demonstration was organized in response to growing unrest among Nigerians frustrated by the country's economic conditions. In a dramatic twist, the women protested to discourage the planned nationwide demonstration set for August 1, aimed at highlighting and addressing these economic issues. The scene in Abuja was marked by a large turnout of women, some of whom were reportedly paid small amounts of money. The demonstration quickly gained traction on social media, where reactions varied from disbelief to amusement. Many analysts were perplexed by the idea of protesting against a protest, with some suggesting that it epitomized the country's chaotic state. With barely 3 days to the 10-day nationwide protest against bad governance in Nigeria, scheduled to commence on Thursday, August 1, 2024, a good number of federal lawmakers and cabinet ministers have either jetted out of the country already or on their way out under the guise of summer holidays or seeking medical checkups. Travel agents are said to be making BRICS business, as many senators, members of the House of Representatives, ministers and high-ranking officials are now booking flights to travel out before the commencement of the nationwide protest aimed at pressuring the President Bola Tinubu administration to revise some of its key economic policies that have brought untold hardships, particularly hunger in the country. Only last Tuesday, both chambers of the National Assembly, the Senate and the House of Representatives hurriedly shut down 1 week ahead of the commencement of its scheduled annual break to enable members process their visa and leave the country before the nationwide protest kicks off on August 1. Some of the federal lawmakers said they are traveling out in order to avoid becoming victims of physical attacks should the protesters choose to move into the National Assembly complex, as was the case in Kenya recently. They recalled how in 2020 many of them were attacked in their constituencies and their property vandalized by protesters. One of the fleeing lawmakers said he was leaving to save his head as he cannot guarantee what will happen next. If you're just joining us, you're watching the news on Clever News Desk. We will be back after this break. Stay with us. Consistency is the belt that fastens excellence in position. If you don't do it repeatedly, you will not excel in it. President Bola Tinubu has described Nigerians in diaspora as a force for national progress, while acknowledging their significant contributions to the nation's development. Speaking at the 2024 National Diaspora Day celebrations, Tinubu recognized the impact of migration on Nigeria's growth, citing a United Nations figure that ranks Nigeria among the top 10 countries with the most international migrants. Clearview News correspondent was there and tells us more. Represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, the President noted that migration can be a positive force for development if done correctly. He encouraged Nigerians in diaspora to bring back their experiences and skills to contribute to national development. Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives Ben Kalu praised the significant investment made by Nigerians in diaspora in areas such as education, agriculture, ICT, transportation and healthcare. He announced plans to explore ways to grant voting rights to Nigerians in diaspora, recognizing their relevance to nation building.
The theme of this year's event, Japa Phenomenon and its implications for national development, speaks to the current wave of migration by some of our young people and professionals. According to the United Nations, Nigeria is among the 10 top countries with the most international migrants worldwide, most living to seek economic and educational opportunities. While some people may view immigration as a negative phenomenon, I disagree. Migration presents opportunities for growth and development. It is also not a new phenomenon, but its complexity and scale have increased exponentially in recent years. As someone who once lived and worked abroad, I can attest that migration can be a transformative experience.
I believe the joint efforts of the diaspora and government, we can make greater contributions to national development. I wish to reiterate, strengthening the solidarity and cooperation between Nigeria and its diaspora will always be of topmost priority for Nigeria.
Chairman of the Commission, Abike Dabire Erewa, stressed the need to create an environment that fosters technological growth that entices skilled professionals to return home. She urged Nigerians in diaspora to remain committed to Nigerians' progress and invest in local initiatives.
As I said, our diaspora, you are known to be hardworking, highly productive, patriotic, and resilient. That is your name as Nigerians anywhere in the world. It therefore falls on us to celebrate our very best, not minding that a few do fall below standard.
One of the challenges the diaspora community faces is the cost of remittance. So I call upon the government, your excellencies presented here, to reduce the cost in order to increase the level of diaspora remittance, which I understand is currently about 5.7% of Nigeria's GDP.
The term Japa has become part of our national lexicon in the last few years, but captures the dreams and aspirations of many Nigerians seeking opportunities overseas. I'll say that we can leverage the skills and experience of Nigerians in the diaspora to contribute to international development, strengthen the ties between Nigeria and Canada, and foster mutual growth and development as we explore opportunities to our mutual benefit.
We should be looking at not just some of the traditional energy areas, but we should be looking at clean energy technology. How do we in fact incorporate that? How do we in fact work? How do we in fact manufacture some of the components and the things that we need to do in order to make our world greener, safer, and cleaner.
The event provided a platform for Nigerians in diaspora to engage with the government and discuss ways to drive national development. The government's commitment to diaspora engagement and recognition of the community's significant contributions to Nigeria's growth was the high point of the discussion. Florence Joshua reporting for Clearview News Desk. The federal government has reassured commuters and other road users that the full operation of the first phase of tolling operation on the 227.5-kilometer Abuja-Kefi-Akwanga-Lafia-Makurdi Federal Highways is still a reality. Speaking at the site inspections in Makurdi, the Deputy Director, Highways Planning and Development, Engineer Ebere Isanobi, said although a few things are yet to be fixed before the full operation, August 1 deadline is still in place. Clearview News' Imofono Kon was there and now tells us more.
At the site inspections in Makurdi, the Deputy Director, Highways Planning and Development, Engineer Bere Isanobi, and the Director, Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission, Emmanuel Owondi, said the commencement of the Abuja, Kefi, Akwanka, Lafia, Makurdi on August is a reality, regardless of the few things that are yet to be fixed, such as some safety measures. Recall that the Federal Highways was until recently in a state of despair, with its attendant safety and cost challenges, which include vehicle damages, accidents, robberies, and loss of valuable man-hours due to the stress of navigating through potholes and gridlocks.
The items they need to put in place wouldn't take much time. It's most like a plug and play. If you're going to put a signboard, it's just to get the signboard and install it. It doesn't need a long process to be done. And secondly, if you're going to put a cat eye or speed reducing measures, it's something you come and put on the road. Within a week, all the items required will be done. Like for instance, they need to put the name of the toll plaza on the toll plaza so that people know where they are. that can be done in a day.
The ICRC is the regulatory body in charge of this concession that you see happening here today. So we are really excited that we're coming to a point where this project can really kick off, talking about the operations and the management of the road. So generally, from the response that we've gotten today, they have indicated to us that about 96% ready to commence. And what they have said to us is that the 4 or 5 items that we've observed, like the signages, the advertorial stuffs and all the rest, and of course the way bridges, there are plans to put them in place now, which is also something that we have to validate by next week. So once that happens, we are sure that we're ready to drive that. We are sure that within August, I'm sure, if there are 1 or 2 things that needs to be put in place, we can also put in just a little time to see how that works, all for the comfort of road users, to make sure that our roads are very safe.
The Super Falcons of Nigeria lost 1-0 to Spain on Sunday, a second consecutive loss with same margin that leaves them rooted to the bottom of Group C. The Randy Waldrum side lacked a finisher to convert the few chances they created and paid for it when Spain's Alexa scored directly from a free kick in the last minute of the game. The side had lost in similar fashion to Brazil in their opening game. Nigeria Super Falcons are condemned to beat Japan in their final group game and expect a favorable result in other games to stand a chance of qualifying to the next stage as one of the best losers in the football event of the ongoing Olympics in Paris. And that's the news, but before we go, a recap of the top stories. Ahead of the proposed August 1 nationwide protest, citizens in Niger State, the FCT and other parts of the country seem to be impatient as they have taken to the streets already to start the process. Amidst apprehension of planned nationwide protests, inaccessibility of leaders, insensitivity to the plight of the citizens, lack of youth involvement in policy making, unemployment among other issues have been identified as factors fueling the agitation among the Nigerian youth. The Super Falcons of Nigeria lost 1-0 to Spain on Sunday, a second consecutive loss with same margin that leaves them rooted to the bottom of Group C after lacking a finisher to convert the few chances they created. You can follow up on latest events and happenings around you via social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube at Clearview News Text or via handle on X, formerly known as Twitter at Clearview Online. Many thanks for watching. I am Florence Joshua. Bye for now.